You clicked on this video because you want to know the keys to improving your draw through the appendix position. Now, a lot of these concepts and principles are going to apply to really anywhere you're carrying from concealment, but I'm going to be focusing solely on appendix today. 5 tips to improve your draw. Let's break it down. For those that are new to the channel, my name is Josh Nelson. I'm the owner of Force Frontier. We have life-saving gear as well as life-saving training available on our website at forcefrontier.com. 2025 has been an incredible year for us, and we're looking to expand our scope, especially as it pertains to 2026. So if you're a law enforcement professional or an everyday protector and you want to see us in your state, shoot us an email at training@forcefrontier.com and we'll get that conversation started. So what we want to do today is break down specifically what I'm doing, working from the appendix position, working from concealment. What are the things that work for me specifically that might work for you as well? The first tip I can give you guys is, how do we clear this shirt? When we're grabbing at the shirt, we want to focus on the index finger and the thumb. So as opposed to reaching down, grabbing with the pinky and trying to collect into the palm, what I want to do is I want to grab as close to the gun as possible. In fact, I even want to touch the gun as I grab the shirt. Working from different pieces of material will change the way you clear that shirt, coat, whatever you're wearing. But in this case, with a t-shirt, I grab right at the gun and I pinch with the index and thumb. That's what I'm really trying to focus on. I really like thinking in terms of concepts as opposed to very specific things, because things are going to work for me that may not work for you and vice versa. So as long as I avoid grabbing up too high to where I don't clear the shirt fully, or if I reach underneath and I don't get a consistent clear, that's not something that I necessarily prefer, but I know really high level shooters that grab at the bottom. Depending on what you're wearing, depending if it's a coat, I will grab underneath a little bit more stiff material. But for the most part, I get consistency clearing this shirt out of the way if I simply just grab right at the gun and pull up to my center line. Once that has occurred, I grab the gun and let's go to step 2. Tip number 2 is going to be slamming that webbing between my index finger and thumb into the beaver tail of the gun. Now, if you guys notice, my gun is angled pretty dramatically here. Not really ergonomic for what I want to grab, but for concealment purposes, I'm able to tuck as much of the gun into my pants as possible, while also allowing plenty of space for me to get my fingers onto the frame of the gun. So for me, I really need to emphasize angling in that webbing so that I get high up on that beaver tail and I have good control of that recoil. The last little piece that I can give you guys is going to be grabbing with the fingers as opposed to worrying too much about getting the thumb behind and getting everything perfect while you're snatching that out of the holster. What I want to do is I want to roll the grip into my palm as opposed to worrying about getting a perfect grip before I pull out. Again, this is about speed, getting this thing out as quickly as we can. So I want to make sure that when I grab, I'm rolling my fingers, and then as I present up, I have a full grip on the gun. One more time at full speed. As I slam this thing out, I slam it out of the holster to bounce it out, get a lot more consistent grip on the gun. And then that's where step number 3 comes in. What am I doing with the support hand? What is that support hand doing? Tip number 3, let's break it down. A lot of times in classes when I'm teaching, guys have their fingers spread apart. So when they clear and they start to get that hand on the gun, they go palm to fingers and then present up to the target. We want the opposite of that. We want to have all of our fingers stuck together like we're karate chopping. Want to make sure that I'm feeling for that middle finger as my index finger of my support hand meets the gun. And then notice as I present up, even with this come along drill that I'm showing here, is I create that anchored grip, finger to palm pressure on the way up. If I'm doing it on the way up, like I'm opening a jar, I have that finger to palm pressure to be able to open it. Same thing here, finger to palm pressure, and then by the time I present up, I have good grip with the support hand, so I'm able to manage that recoil when I'm shooting more than one round. I'm never going to be able to shoot sooner out of the holster, not faster, but sooner if I'm not prepping the trigger upon presentation. The best way to do that, and the best rule of thumb for that, is going to be as this gun levels out, I can start to sneak my finger on into that trigger guard or even on the trigger. And a couple different strategies for pulling the trigger is either gonna be slap, roll, or a prep and press. So if I need a really tight shot, I need to make sure that I 100% get this shot exactly where I need it to be, let's say a headshot for instance, I prep and then press upon presentation. If I have a much larger target, let's say a full silhouette, my finger can start to creep in there, establishing my grip, and then I can slap away all I want because of the distance to the target, size of the target. Depending on that difficulty level, I distinguish how I place my finger on that trigger. But nothing changes as far as the overall principle. I'm not gonna shoot sooner out of the holster if I'm not prepping upon presentation. So that's tip number 4. Make sure you're prepping that trigger if you wanna shoot sooner. Tip number 5, keep your head still and elevate the dot or your iron sights up into view. Think of it like an escalator. As I present out, the gun becomes parallel with the ground as I marry my support hand onto the grip. As I present up, I'm staring at whatever target I'm aiming at, in this case the A of the A box. I present up, not up and out. So I wanna make sure that I take the most direct route from my holster. So if I just point my finger from my holster to the target, up to my eye line, I wanna take the most direct route so I can increase that speed. Present up, right on the A, present up, right on the A. That's what I wanna accomplish. So try, whether you're presenting from 3 o'clock or appendix, it's not gonna matter. Present that gun up into your eye line, keeping your head as stable as possible. So there's less factors, less variables. I don't want to move my head and the gun at the same time. I'm gonna have inconsistency. I'm gonna be searching for the sights as opposed to just stopping right where I'm looking and then I pull the trigger. Guys, if you found these tips helpful, make sure you give us a like. If you wanna see more content like this in the future, make sure you subscribe. And if you have any thoughts of your own, make sure you comment down below. Guys, I'm Josh with Force Frontier. That's all I have for you today. We will see you on the next video.